Welcome back guys, Avi this side. So from this video onwards, I'll be finally sharing you the mobility series, mobility or dynamic stretches, commonly known as the warm-up exercises which you do before you start your workout. So out of the hundreds of mobilities that exist out there for any specific workout which you have on any particular day, out of those so many mobilities, which one should you select? How many mobilities should you select? How many seconds you should spend on one mobility? How many total sets? By what time should you wrap up your warm-up session? Everything about the mobilities, dynamic stretches and warm-up. I'll be sharing you everything about the do's and don'ts will be shared in these video series by me. So guys, we're going to start with the joint which has the highest range of motion of mobility, the shoulder joint. Now because of this particular nature of the shoulder joint having a very high mobility, it is also susceptible to injuries when the high mobility cannot find a good balance between that particular joint stability and strength. So this usually happens when you spend prolonged hours sitting on a chair and you end up having bad posture. Like the most common example is rounded shoulders and a forward head posture. This is one of the possible cases. There can be other example or scenarios also in which you end up having bad posture. Now the first mobility which we're going to talk about for the shoulder is going to be PVC pipe pass through. So you can use a PVC pipe head. Make sure you're not using any barbell. You need a empty pipe, or you can also, if you do not have a pipe, you can also use a rounded towel. Now for the PVC pipe, you'll be having a very wide grip. You'll be having your arms locked in straight. Now pass through grip is a grip where the pipe comes right in front of your pelvis if your elbows are straight and locked. So let's say my elbows are still straight but my hands are closer, the pipe has moved below my pelvis. If I shift my hands away from each other, as you can see, the pipe is traveling up in front of the pelvis. So this is called a pass-through grip. This is the grip which we'll be needing in order to do this mobility. So I'm going to multitask here. I'm going to demonstrate you how to do a PVC pipe pass-through, and at the same time I'm going to also share the minute and the tiniest detail, the tiniest difference between a dynamic stretch with a joint mobility, and between these two, what's the biggest difference between these two and a static stretch or a cool down or a post-workout stretch which you do at the end of the workout. Now let's say guys, the PVC pipe pass through, you have the elbow straight and locked, the chest is out, your shoulders are relaxed. You're going to take the pipe back without bending your elbows. You're going to take it back, touch it to the lower back and get it forward. So if you have the side view look here, my arms are straight, chest is out, shoulders are down and depressed, relax. I'm going to take the pipe back, up and back, touch it to the lower back and forward guys. Now while I'm doing this mobility, I'm challenging the range of motion of my shoulder joint. Now if I want to scale it up, I can decrease the grip, still have my elbow straight, take the pipe up and back and forward. This is how I can scale up this particular mobility. Now if you're taking it back and you're bending your elbows like this, or let's say when you're getting it up, you're bending your elbows like this and then getting it up, then there's no point of this mobility. Fine. So when I'm doing this particular mobility, I'm pushing the range of motion of my shoulder joint to its limit. That is how I'll get to know how's my range of motion of the shoulder joint, how's the mobility, is it good, bad, fine, medium, whatever your scale of judgment of your mobility is. Now this is what a joint mobility is. Now let's say if I talk about just shoulder rotations here, like you must have seen people doing this, you must have also been doing this in your warm-up. So what am I doing here? I'm moving my shoulder joint, I'm warming up my tendons, ligaments and muscles here. I'm warming up the joint, I'm increasing my blood flow here. I'm doing this to warm up my body because I have a main workout in which I'll be using a lot of my shoulders. So while I'm doing this, I'm warming up my shoulders. There's this dynamic movement, meaning no static hold, there's a continuous motion, and hence this particular movement which is called shoulder rotation or shoulder circles is called a dynamic stretch. Now when I did a PVC pipe pass through, it was a dynamic movement, but at the same time I was also pushing my range of motion of the shoulder joint to its limit, and hence this is a joint mobility. Now when I'm doing shoulder circles, I'm not really pushing the range of motion, I'm just warming it up. Hence this is the minute and the tiniest difference between a dynamic stretch and a joint mobility. So a joint mobility, a PVC pipe pass through, is also a dynamic stretch, but all dynamic stretches are not exactly joint mobilities. Now if I compare this with a static hold, if you have seen my chest workout video which I've posted. Please have a good look at it, chest workout video. After which I posted another video in which I posted a static stretch, right? So I'll be using it here now. Pass through, hold. Now as you can see, with the same grip, elbow straight, I'm going to take the pipe back, hold it right behind my neck or upper back. So now as you can see, while I'm doing this hold, my anterior shoulder, the front part of the shoulder, the muscle cells here are being forced to move away from each other. I'm holding a stretch. It is called a static stretch. There is no movement here. I'm pushing my muscle cells away from each other, and the same for my upper chest or the pec minor muscle. So while I do this exercise, this particular movement, I'm holding this movement in contrary of a dynamic stretch. This is the biggest difference between a dynamic stretch which you do before you start your workout and a static stretch which you do at the end of your workout to cool down your body. Dynamic stretch is to warm up your body, to increase the blood flow in your body before you start your workout. Now we're done with the first one. We'll move on to the second mobility and dynamic stretch. The name is dislocator. So with the same grip, guys, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move one hand at a time. So keeping the arm straight again, I have my right hand. Now if I'm moving my right hand back, I'll keep the other hand fixed right here. So I'm going to move the right hand back without bending the elbows. Now I'm going to get the left hand forward without moving my right hand. I'm going to reverse this circle. I'm going to take the left hand back without moving the right hand. Now without moving the left hand, I'm going to take the right hand forward. So one clockwise circle, one anti-clockwise circle. Common mistakes is this. Try to figure out what is the common mistake. If you can't figure out, it's okay, but as you can see, my elbows are bending. They should not be bending at all. Arm should be straight and locked. This is called PVC pipe dislocators. Second one after pass through. Now guys, third mobility we're gonna move on is called a PVC pipe external rotation, shoulder external rotation. So let's say if this is my shoulder joint, if I'm having a 90-degree bend here, if I keeping the elbows right next to the body, if I move the wrist away like this, if I rotate my shoulders outwards, this is called an external rotation of the shoulders. The movement you see here, the motion you see here on my joint, this is an external rotation. Now the same thing, what is an internal rotation? If we keep the elbows a little out, if I try to take my wrist back, this is an internal rotation. Fine, so I can do these mobilities with the help of a PVC pipe also. Now the third one, PVC pipe external rotation. How am I going to do it? I'm going to hold the PVC pipe from the bottom part of the pipe. Now I'm going to grip it, I'm going to bend the hand, and I'm going to let the pipe come and fall right outside my biceps here. Fine, I'm having a full grip with the right hand, my elbows are bent, I have my left hand, I'm going to get it under the hand and I'm going to pull the PVC pipe up, hold there for 2 to 3 seconds and relax and repeat. So the most common mistake which happens in this particular mobility is people do not bend their hands. So they're going to put the PVC pipe like this. As you can see, my wrist is way too away from my shoulder and you start pushing the shoulder out. Fine, won't be able to push the range of motion of your shoulder. So you need to bend your arm, close your hand, wrist right next to the shoulder, and then you're going to pull the PVC pipe up and down. So guys, this particular mobility, shoulder external rotation, is a multi-joint mobility. You're also pushing your elbow joint to its ROM or range of motion. So it's also mobilizing your elbow joint here. Now people having golfer's injury, any injury or any discomfort or any pain on the inside part of the elbow, make sure you're not doing this particular mobility. I'll be sharing an alternate dynamic stretch which you can do instead of the external rotation. So now guys, we're going to move on to the fourth dynamic stretch of mobility for your shoulders. The name is internal rotation with the help of a PVC pipe. So again, I'm going to grab the PVC pipe from the bottom half, from the bottom end of the pipe. Now I'm going to take it and keep it behind my back here. Now I have my left hand, I'm going to get it under the right hand like this. So some people, as a common mistake, start to do internal rotation like this. So there's no rotation happening in my shoulder. The only work being done here is with the elbow joint here. Fine. So how to correct it? You're going to shift the hands close to each other first. Move the left hand upwards. Now the left hand right here, you have to glue it to the PVC pipe. You have the right hand, grip the PVC pipe with the right hand. Now I'm going to use the right hand to pull the PVC pipe up and down. The left hand won't be moving anywhere on the pipe. Now pull the right hand up and relax. Pull the right hand up and relax. So as you as you'll be doing this particular mobility, you'll be feeling an internal rotation sensation, little pain while you're pulling the right hand up and down. So there's a very less movement. It's not exactly up and down, so keep it slow and steady. Shift the hands close to each other first and then do this mobility. Now on each mobility we'll be spending around 30 seconds, and let's say if I've chosen 5 mobilities for the day, I'll be doing 30 seconds of each mobility and 2 rounds in total of that. Now for the 30-second mobility, if I'm doing it, distributing the mobility with 2 hands, so I'll be spending 15 to 20 seconds on one hand, 15 to 20 seconds on the other hand. Now the same thing with the left hand. Now I'm going to grip it with the left hand, have the pipe behind my back. I'm going to take the right hand, glue it to the pipe. First I'll shift the hands close to each other first, right hand glued, left hand, I'm going to start pulling up and down, start pulling up and down, pull the pipe up and down, hold for at least 2 seconds up, feel that stretch, push your shoulder to its range of motion. 15 to 20 seconds on one hand, 15 to 20 seconds on the other hand, 30 to 40 seconds total on one mobility. So guys, moving on to the 5th and the last mobility or dynamic stretch which you can do on your shoulder day is the PVC Pipe Pulse. So for this I'm going to have the PVC pipe, I'll keep it right behind my hip, so my palms are facing forward now, not reverse, fine, palms facing forward. If your hands are out, shift the hands close to each other, get the hands right outside your hips. Now the first thing and the most important thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round my shoulders back, roll my shoulders back, I'll have my chest out. Now from here I'll have my knees soft first, then I'm going to start pushing the PVC pipe up. I'm going to round my back, my knees are soft, I'm going to keep pushing the PVC pipe up and do very small and slow and controlled pulses here. I'm pushing forward and down, forward and down, forward and down. Again 30 to 40 seconds on one mobility here. If you have any back pain, any issue with forward bending, you're going to do this mobility while you're standing and you won't be forward bending. Similarly, shoulders back, keep pushing the hand up and down, no forward bending. Just make sure you're rounding your shoulders back first before you start doing the pulsing movement right here. So guys, that's it from my side. These were the 5 dynamic stretches which you can do on your shoulders day. You can also do these mobilities on your chest day. You can also do these mobilities if you have your arms workout, right? So it'll give a good blood flow before you start your main workout to your arms entirely, especially for your shoulders. So you can do these 5 dynamic stretches especially for your shoulders day. You can do it for your arms day, you can do it for your chest day also. Or if you're splitting your workout into upper body, lower body or middle core separately, you can also take around 2 to 3, any of the 2 to 3 dynamic stretches which you like, which you feel are really challenging the ROM of your shoulder joint. You can choose any 2 to 3 mobilities from these 5 and do them on your full body day also. So guys, that's it for the shoulder mobility series 1. The remaining mobilities I'll be sharing with you in the second video of the same series. Until then guys, if you have any doubts or questions, feedbacks, please write them in the comment section or DM me on Instagram. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you like the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you have already subscribed, make your friends and family also subscribe to the channel. Until then guys, see you soon.